Hello, yes, I am Lewis, the Science and Research Lead for Sussex Bay. And I'm going to be answering the question, why a blueprint, and looking at the science that goes behind it. Now to do that, I'm going to talk a bit about our approach, then go into a bit about the how, so the methodology, look at some of the results that we've been doing for this over the last year, and then have a bit of a forward look. So bear with me. So why a blueprint? Well, to look at Sussex Bay, you can do it in a number of different ways. Here's a series of maps that showcase the diversity of our seabeds, which support diversity of species, the riverine and waterine inputs and our coastal habitats, as well as a map from 1883, which shows that the blue mussel reef, which used to go along our coastline and what Sussex used to be. We need to take all of these different pieces of information into consideration as we start to plan for the future. But Sussex Bay might also look like this. It's where you spend time with your family, it's where you go and do recreation, it might be where you're employed and where you earn your income. It's where you look out and know that there are diversity of species which call it home and where they raise their young, or where you get your food from. Now, all of that's complex and all of it fits together in many different ways, and that is why a blueprint. When you're working in architectural construction, a blueprint tells you what materials you need to use to be appropriate for where you are. Where you might put the window to get the best natural light, and then the construction methods that you might use. Importantly, that blueprint will be designed for its particular use, so you can get the nuances of how people are going to use that space. For the blueprint for seascape recovery, our materials are research within the ecological, environmental sciences, social sciences, and economics. And this research will tell us about where things need to happen. Those locations might be important sites for sea swimmers, they might be where kelp beds once were or are now, and they might be important dolphin feeding grounds. But we need to know this information to plan for change. Our construction methods are broad, from protection and management to changes of people's practices and potentially active restoration. To do all of those, we need to collaborate broadly with the correct authorities, environmental charities, and communities at large. And that is what we're aiming to do. But how? So now I'm going to talk a little bit about the methodology that goes behind this. We're utilising natural capital approaches, which showcases the environment as a series of assets, as in habitats, species, and the water that flows across it, and the services that they provide to wider environment, but as well as to society. Those services have a benefit to people, and then we can value that. That's not necessarily economic value, it's also about well-being, as well as nature as a thriving asset and benefit in itself. This natural capital, or these assets, our nature, is impacted by a series of pressures which we need to manage, as well as enabling for perfect and maximal service delivery, ensuring that we have equitable access to those natural assets. Now a little bit more about what those services are as showcased in this wheel here. So this is the benefits from the sea wheel, which is produced by Nature Scott. It showcases the diversity in benefits that the sea provides to us, as well as in and of itself. It's an important area for water cycling, nutrient cycling, carbon sequestration. It provides us with food and energy, as well as enhances our well-being. In addition to being a home for species such as plants, animals, algae, this place has deep-rooted connections with the cultural identity of Sussex. We need to take all of this into consideration as we start to determine where we need to have action and what that action is to provide maximal benefit for nature and for us. So this is a look back at the year so far in terms of the results that we've been collecting. As Dean teased, we produced our Ocean Literacy Survey earlier this year with 1,805 respondents from across Sussex. This is it after the national survey which occurred in 2021. This survey really highlights some of the importance of the marine and coastal environments to the people of Sussex. For those of you that don't know, ocean literacy is a measure of one's knowledge of their impact on the ocean, but also the influence of the ocean on an individual. What was stark was that the highest emotion that people feel when they consider the marine environment was concern. So from all of the people that we interviewed and surveyed within Sussex, 44% used the word concern. To me, that's a really hopeful word here because it shows that people care They care about our marine environment, and that means that they are adaptable and want to change for it. As you can see from the information on the slide on the right, this is a really mixed in what people see, and we need to understand that information for our work that we're doing in terms of who we should be targeting for conversations and the sort of conversations that we should be having. Here are a few more results. The bottom graph there showcases how people consider that the marine environment is exceptionally important for their mental and physical health, showing that we need to ensure that access is sustained. Really exciting is that 70% of people declare to have taken action to support the ocean. That's compared to 55% nationally, again showing that people in Sussex truly care about their marine environment. And importantly, people on the survey listed the top 3 aspects that they feel that they gained from the marine environment as a habitat for plant and species, showcasing that nature is important as itself, but as well as food to eat and renewable energy, showcasing the diversity of benefits that we understand we receive and the sorts of industries that we need to be supporting. Again, we've been working with our fishing community to understand ecology and education. So we have been producing with experts interactive boards, along with some animations and amazing videos to showcase how sustainable fishing can help benefit the marine environment over that of unsustainable practices. And we will continue to do this work to educate the public on how we can move forward by supporting these small-scale fishing industries. Now, over the last year and with tons of partners, we've been looking at the important areas of Sussex Bay. You can see from this slide here some of the important assets that we understand we have and why they're important. From the fact that our sandy seabeds are home to flatfish species like Dover sole, to the fact that blue mussels are potentially beginning to return under the nearshore trawling bylaw area. And thank you for SKRP for some of the amazing information that you've provided us to look into this. We also know that porpoises are big fans of the chalk crease of Seven Sisters. There's a diversity of information that we've been collecting, including where people are accessing the marine environment and how, what is stopping them from doing so, and things that are major concerns, such as water quality, which came out on our Ocean Literacy Survey as a big concern for much of the public. We're going to be using all of this information and everything we've been showing you so far to start planning for the future. Now, a quick forward look. We're going to be publishing our blueprint for seascape recovery, the story so far, which showcases some of the information and evidence we've been collecting and slowly mapping where the important assets are and the benefits that we get from them. This is the first part in our journey. Next, we'll be developing part 2, plans for a thriving Sussex Bay. Here, we need to work collaboratively with organisations and communities across the Bay to ensure that we are getting the right information and the right people in the room to set our objectives for a positive future. We're beginning to look at, from this evidence, what our first projects in the water might be, and importantly, as I mentioned, there are a diversity of construction methods that we might need to use. Recovery, restoration, sustainability and adaptability are all important parts of this journey. Now, a thriving Sussex Bay cannot be restored by ecological interventions alone. It must also be restored in the hearts and minds and hands of those that live along its shore. And you'll be hearing more about the importance of that later. Thank you very much.